In this video, we continue 11.7, the quadric surfaces. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning of the last video. These cover things like our ellipses, our parabolas, our hyperbolas, circles, and how they translate or apply, show up in three-dimensional space. So let's just take a look at our first equation right here. What I've got is x squared over 4 plus y squared over 25 plus z squared over 9 equals 1. One way to look at this is to find the intercepts in each plane for the trace lines. So if I do y equals 0, which does the xz plane, which is a page going into our screen like that. If I do the lines there, so what we got, y equals 0 gets rid of that portion right there. And if I do z equals 0, I'm out of that one. And I've got x squared over 4 equals 1. So x squared equals 4. Take square root of both sides and I get x equals plus or minus 2. Then I can check the other trace line there by doing x equals 0. So I'll cover up that component. I've got z squared over 9 equals 1, as we see here. Multiply by 9, we get z squared equals 9. Take the square root of both sides, we get z equals plus or minus 3 for when x equals 0 or z equals 0. And y equals 0 as well. So we'll put those points down. If I look at the next set in the z equals 0 plane, if we do x equals 0, let me bring it back down. So we've got z equals 0 and x equals 0. I've got y squared over 25 equals 1, which I have written here. Solve for y squared equals 25, y equals plus or minus 5. That's when x equals 0 and z equals 0. If I do y equals 0 and z equals 0, I get x squared over 4 equals 1 and x equals plus or minus 2. I've started to generate duplicates that we can see up here. Notice y equals 0, z equals 0. Here I had y equals 0, z equals 0. So we have an idea of what's going on there. It might be easier just to look at what happens if we set two variables equal to 0 in the original equation. As a reminder, the original equation was x squared over 4 plus y squared over 25 plus z squared over 9 equals 1. So if I just zero out two of the values, I can find something along the x-axis. Like if I zero out the y and z, I just jump straight to finding out what's going on in the x-axis. If I zero out the x and z, I find out what's going along in the y-axis. And if I zero out x and y, I find out what's going along on the z-axis. So we'll draw that out right now. Right here. So we had x equaled plus or minus 2 when the other points were 0. So this gives us 2 points right here. When x is 0, y or z was 0, we had plus or minus 5 for y. And this was our third set of points. I've gone ahead and drawn a three-dimensional graph here. Now it's just time to fill it in. So let's do the plus or minus 2 along the x-axis. That gets us a point there and a point there. If we do the plus or minus 5 when x and z are 0, that's left and right 5 along the y-axis. And finally, we have up or down 3, z. Now, it might help to just show 3 sets of connecting those points. We have an egg. So it's kind of circular looking in it like this, well, elliptical. Maybe I'll use different colors. If we do, that's the y equals 0 or xz plane that I just drew. So let me label that xz. If I do the z equals 0 or xy plane, xy plane connects these two and is looping around like that. And that's my xy plane. And finally, when we have our z, let's see, I got to connect the points in the xz plane. No, yz plane. So the yz plane is connecting these like this. So that's yz. So we have this oval thing sticking sideways. So this is kind of how you can sketch surfaces. If you wanted to do it a little bit better, make it look a little bit better. When you're doing the blue, the blue's going in and out of the paper. So maybe we should have had dotted line to show it circling around the back. And the red also has stuff going and hitting stuff along the x equals negative axis. So maybe we should have had something. Let's see, I need to go. And then finally our xz or yz plane is in the paper itself. It's in the surface we know, so we can see it as is. So if I had centered this up there and done dotted lines, it makes it a little less messy. I don't know if that helps any. I didn't have my lines on it, so this looks a little more less elliptical. But that'll be it for that one.